Alan,
Sorry.
where'd you go?
There we go.
I miss you.
And then back. Sorry.
Okay.
These buttons.
Alan, I have not seen Bonhoeffer. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. You have seen Bonhoeffer? What is it?
Bonhoeffer.
Bonhoeffer.
You are
Alan,
German, for crying out loud.
I am part German.
You're part
I
German.
like Germans.
Yeah.
See,
look, like my people were not a part of the Axis power. So yes, I could have mispronounced it and gotten away with it.
Yeah, that's cool. Tell me about Bonhoeffer.
Okay,
Pastor
so Bonhoeffer.
Bonhoeffer.
Now the boning jokes are coming out in the chat.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so as many of you know, not only am I a Christian, but I've attended seminary. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer, one of the required readings was Bonhoeffer's The Cost of Discipleship. And so I read it. I know a little bit of the story in the sense that he was in prison by the Third Reich, sent to execution. And while in prison, he wrote, he was very prolific in his writings, and they were able to smuggle a lot of his writings out. And he has several books that were ultimately published long after his death. But Bonhoeffer comes from, the movie Bonhoeffer comes from Angel Studios. It is the story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and as you can see, pastor, spy, assassin. So it basically goes through his life. It does the time jumping thing that I hate, but I'll deal with it. It opens with him in going to the Third Reich prison, where he would ultimately be executed. And then it just kind of follows his life in various stages. He is a Lutheran pastor who went to America in the 1930s for, I believe, sabbatical and research. And there, while in New York, he stumbled upon a Southern Gospel church and was introduced to gospel music, to jazz, and to this idea that Christianity is not just a religion, but it's really a way of life. It's this relationship you have with God. And that had a profound effect on him. That when he went back to Germany, he began seeing what Hitler and the Third Reich were starting to do, and basically silencing voices, especially those of the Jews. And he was, and the church at that time was pretty much bending the knee to Hitler. And he was one of the few voices that would publicly stand against that. And as you can imagine, he got in a lot of trouble for it. His mentor was imprisoned by Hitler. He was beaten. He was maligned. But a lot of what this movie is this idea of, as they point out in The Cost of Discipleship, it's this idea of cheap grace versus costly grace. For a lot of us Christians, we have received grace, we have been forgiven, and that's not taken away from us, and we live with this comfortable feeling that we're good in God's eyes. But what Bonhoeffer says is that grace comes at a cost, and the cost is to stand up for what is right. And so he felt that it was his mission to basically to speak out against the German government and to try to get the church to do what it should do and protect the Jews as they were being sent off, rounded up and being sent off. But the church at the time remained silent. And a lot of this movie is an indictment on the church at the time for allowing Hitler to get as far as he did. And ultimately, he gets caught in a assassination attempt, and he's imprisoned for conspiracy for that. And not to, if you know his history, he's ultimately executed literally a month before the end of World War II.
Oh.
And so, but the thing is that he's a modern day Christian martyr. His death, from his death came some amazing books. And was definitely a message at the time to Christians to say, you've got to start speaking out against the wrong going on in this world. And so, as a movie, I very much enjoy the movie. I have a mixed reactions when it comes to Christian movies in general, but this one is well done in terms of a good biopic, a good thriller. I think it's better than most. It kind of falls into the tropes that Angel Studios falls into in Christian movies, but Very thrilling, and the message really comes across in terms of, a man who was not only willing to give up his life for the cause, he volunteered to give up his life, because there are many times he could have escaped, but he knew that being in prison and going through whatever punishment he was set out for him was the right thing to do in the eyes of the church.
So you recommend it?
I absolutely recommend it. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think there's a broad appeal for this. I don't think non-Christians are going to go to it, but I think it's a good movie to show them.